It is the RIOT podcast. Happy Monday, wherever you are, however you're listening.
Hopefully everybody had a wonderful weekend or whatever day, because, whatever day you want to hear this is perfectly up to you.
Well, we had a good show, didn't we?
I think so. I had a lot of fun.
We did a great job, I think. Let's pat ourselves on the back.
Yeah. Pat.
Yep. And you know what? Let's speed up this intro. Let's just do it quick because I got some cold fried chicken to get to.
You're ready to go?
Yeah.
We talk about breakfast.
Yep. Let's see. What did we get to? We talked about how the TSA 15 years ago banned you taking your liquid carry-on items onto the plane.
But be listening, because there's something that people are pointing out about the ban.
There's an important qualifier to that ban, and we get to that. We also talk about the merfolk, because the pandemic affected all of us, and that includes merfolk.
Every time I think of this, it's not like I think anything's wrong with the people doing this cosplay. It's just, you wanted to go to the pool that day and just not have a thing, and then it's there and everybody's doing this thing.
Yeah, and you're like, wait, should I have brought my tail?
I know, you didn't know, you weren't involved.
Is this a special kind of pool? I didn't realize.
I think it's fine, but there's this whole group of things going on.
Well, it also feels that it's one of the things that it could go from an innocent, just a little hobby, to all of a sudden you take it a little too far and it becomes kind of weird. Yeah, and so that's always a line you have to be careful not to cross.
Sure, but we talk about that.
We talk about bees following you around, and really our questions about a queen bee and what it actually does.
You need to learn about that.
We're going to have to read up on that. And, it's short summer.
It's a thigh girl or a thigh boy summer.
Thigh guy summer,
Thigh guy
right?
summer, that's it.
And am I taking place in the short summer?
You'll have to listen and find out what the summer fashion trend would be.
Yes. And, of course, the people you turn for that are obviously Nikki and I.
People are wearing the longer pants that you can find.
Short shorts and Crocs is what we're going with.
Well, enjoy the podcast today. There's lots more for you to listen to. And text and say hi, 877 to RadioU. And as always, text us if you've got a story you want us to cover. Yep. It might just be in tomorrow's podcast.
Also, be on the lookout on the RadioU Riot Facebook page, because coming up this week, we got our hands on the new Baja Blast.
The new 2 Mountain Dew flavors.
It wasn't easy, but we found them, so we're going to be tasting those. I was so excited when
you found the red one.
It only took me 2 different stores. And that's not counting all the stores leading up to it the past week where I haven't seen it.
Well, everybody's been going, it's at Speedway. So I sent Eric to a Speedway. He's like, it's not at the Speedway.
I don't even have a Speedway. There's none near me.
Not close enough.
I don't even have anywhere to look. Yeah.
And it's not consistent. I think that's the hardest when we're trying to find things.
Right.
Not every location's the same.
Yep.
So whenever you guys tell us, was that Giant Eagle or was that Walmart? You're like, not this one.
Right. But I found it.
Yay. We'll do that later this week. So join us at riot.radiou.com to find out where else you can be following.
Yes. Join us. And thanks for watching.
Have a good day.
It is the Riot.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
The Riot isn't all bad, but this is the worst of the Riot. RadioU.
Last week, there was a heat wave heading through Texas, and the ERCOT, that is the Electric Reliability Council of Texas.
The thing that sounds like Epcot, and the thing everybody
but it's a lot less fun.
The thing that everybody was mad about when they had those ice storms that went through Texas.
Yep.
Basically, it's their energy, sort of set up for Texas.
Yeah, so they try to manage everything there because they have their own power grid, and they were concerned that over the weekend that it was going to fail. The power grid was going to fail because it was too hot. People were using too much air conditioning. They were saying, don't cook, don't use the dishwasher, don't use your oven, all that kind of stuff. And also don't turn your air conditioner down below 78. And that what we found was, as we talked about this, we had people texting in from Texas saying, listen, they are logging into our smart thermostats and turning them down turning them up.
Oh, I was going to say, not turning them down.
Yeah.
Well, they were basically, especially overnight, they were forcing it to stay at a certain temperature.
Right.
So you would wake up and it would be 78 or 80 in your place.
The dad would pop up out of bed and be like, who touched the thermostat?
Who touched the thermostat? And it was them. And I thought, no, that is not possible.
Yes.
That your company can't, tap in and actually do that. And then it was like, yeah, and then they can.
It wasn't just a couple people texting us in. All of a sudden, it's hit the news.
Yeah.
And actually, I guess this isn't especially surprising, but it is a policy that they agreed to, really probably unwittingly, because if they're complaining about it, it was just something that they probably got a discount too. Like, we'll charge you $5 less per year if you agree to this energy savings thing. And you're like, fine, $5 off. Then it turns out that you signed something in the fine print that says they can do that to
you
log in.
Your AC away.
Yeah, you did. How do you opt out of that?
Well, I don't know. I saw a bunch of people who were like the news house that they were showcasing for the fact that, this company would go in and keep your thermostat and not allow you to lower it. You'd think you'd be lowering, but it wasn't lowering.
Yep.
And this one guy was like, I'm not doing that. And so he goes outside and rips it off to where they can no longer access it. So I thought, well, maybe could we all do that? Or
Yeah.
What do you do? But a lot of people were just stuck with unbearable temperatures.
Yeah, but the good news is that Texas has now said that it's okay. Everybody can go back to doing what they do normally, which is turning their air conditioner down to like 62. And maybe you turn it down a little extra just to stick it to them. Say, you think you can mess with my air conditioner?
Well, I have to say, this company, what is it called? Because I do really always want to call them Epcot. ERCOT. They, we're not in Texas.
We don't know.
And so we don't know really. And I know we all hate our providers of everything.
Of course.
Like, that's just how it is.
Right.
But I feel like they have made some poor decisions in the last several months that have really made their customers mad.
Yeah, well, if you talk to some people that I've seen reports that say this goes back years, not that it was causing issues, but all of the groundwork for all of this was laid years ago. And it's just nobody was paying attention, and it was probably like, well, we'll get taxed less, so hooray.
Yeah,
and then it's like, oh, wait a minute.
And you don't know until you get to some weather or some issues that cause these problems, and then it all comes out.
Yep.
What you're about to hear will live on the internet forever. Sorry, Internet, the worst of the Riot podcast.
I'm going to be honest with you right from the get-go here. I don't know how to run an airline. But neither does anybody else, apparently, because
they like to have some problems.
They just cannot stay out of the news for a week or so at most, because there's always something going wrong. Always. There's like 5 airlines and none of them can solve their problems.
At least it seems like they rotate. Like last week, I think was the week for Southwest.
Yep.
They had a lot of just outages and flights canceled and flights being moved.
Yep.
And now it seems like, hey, American Airlines is taking over
They're ready to take over. They canceled over 300 flights over the weekend.
Yeah.
So hopefully your dad got home okay after he came to visit. And then they're expected to cancel possibly 3,000 more during the month of July, because now this is their excuse is they're having a pilot shortage. They basically sent a lot of people off last March because of the pandemic, not surprisingly, but now they're having a problem, according to them, getting people back and ready to go. And there was a lot of sicknesses they're claiming and some flight maintenance issues on the planes. So all that to be said, they canceled a bunch of flights and they're going to cancel more.
Well, I feel like every time the airline says there's sicknesses or maintenance issues, that's like, oh, the pilot didn't show up or they didn't have enough crew.
Maybe the pilot's sick of working for the airline.
He's sick of you.
Yeah.
But basically they're saying that they did fire so many pilots at the start of the pandemic and they just have not rehired enough. They just cannot meet the demand as air travel is going back to almost pre-pandemic levels.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where, like, we've had several months now of lead up to, okay, we got the vaccine, and then we're slowly building back up to normal. They had some warning there, and this is what, like, I know some people are like, well, yeah, but everybody, like, when you fire a bunch of people, how are you going to rehire them? what are the pilots doing other than being a pilot? Like,
well, they can go, like, let's say to private planes and just other, like, they just maybe went to other airlines.
Maybe.
Yeah,
but
they just didn't
maybe that
wait.
should tell you something about American then.
Maybe they're done being pilots.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, unless they just retired.
I don't know.
You've spent your life being a pilot. What, are you just going to be a woodworker now?
Well, they've
What are you
also said
doing?
that pilots, that's an art. That's a very specific training that you have to do for a while. Mm-hmm. And you can't just put an ad out and everybody's ready to go.
Now, that's difficult.
There's been a lack of pilots for quite some time because we're just growing up and that's not on the radar. Of like, same thing for like an astronaut or like certain types of style of jobs we're moving away from. But to be a pilot, you need that training and that takes time. So if they're out of pilots, they have to cancel the flights.
Yeah, man, I think being a pilot would actually be cool.
I think so too.
I think I could never do it. I'm afraid of heights, and
this is the best way to get over it.
Like, practically, or no, that would mentally keep me from doing it. But I feel like I could get over that. But my eyes are so bad.
Oh,
like, I can barely drive on the road. I guess on a plane, there's nothing you can crash into. It'd be more difficult to.
That's not true. And so I'm going to say that maybe they appreciate you wanting to start that, but you're going to get a no.
Yeah, no, it's in everybody's best interest, but
you're not doing that.
If I was able to, that sounds like a cool job, except for you'd have to live your life with an airline, and I don't.
You don't want to?
Nothing about any interaction with an airline in my life has ever told me these would be good employers.
Yeah. They also say that, with travel bans and just traveling, not everybody was comfortable for pilots to even go back to flying planes.
Yeah, there you go.
So they just, are canceling flights, and that can go all the way through the summertime travel. So if you have airline flights that are booked for this, season.
Yep.
Good luck to you.
Yes, maybe just have a backup plan.
Maybe be thankful if it's just moved and not canceled completely, and just be thankful for that, because you could just not have flights at all.
Yeah, you could try taking the train, Amtrak.
Oh,
they probably have their own issues.
I feel like that would take so long and be so miserable, but do they even have... I think there's less train drivers than there are...
there's less trains, probably.
Than there are pilots, so that might even be a problem.
At least
there.
you might actually get where you need to go and you wouldn't be stranded.
Yeah,
Maybe.
but it'd take you weeks to get there.
The Riot with Hudson and Nikki. Oh my God, no way. On RadioU.
No way, no way.
Well, the summer is officially sexy. And the hottest look for men is short shorts. But are we ready for this much male flesh, Nikki?
Do you feel like guys' shorts, like your shorts are getting shorter?
They're not for me.
Then you might be a part of what they're calling thigh guy summer.
You're a part of the thigh society. That is, and you're leading the way in fashion. This is a story from The Guardian that's reporting on. They're saying that it's the new fashion trend for guys to be wearing short shorts. Now, of course, I don't know if Nikki and I are so up to date on fashion that we would really be able to judge if this is just a bunch of hot air from The Guardian, or if it's actually really true that guys are wearing short shorts. But they at least have a picture of Milo Ventimiglia, star of This Is Us, to back up their story, to back up their claim.
But that one was from a while ago, picture. But
he was ahead of the game.
He was. They're saying a lot of guys are just wearing shorter shorts, and it's a trend for this summer. And people are using the hashtag, even though they're saying a lot of people are saying they wouldn't date someone who wore shorts if they were not longer.
Modest is hottest, Nikki.
5.5 inches. Where did that come from? I feel like that came from somewhere.
I saw so much there. Oh, there's a lot of modest is hottest talk going around on Twitter this weekend in the circles I run in.
Oh, is there?
And it's not. There's a whole lot of conversation to go around with that.
So if you are noticing and you're looking for some shorts this summer and you're like, gosh, why are they all so short?
Yeah.
Welcome. That's been around for a long time.
You're going to have to.
Now you guys get to experience
You're going to have to start shopping in the dad short section instead of shopping in the cool guy section if you're not comfortable with showing so much leg.
Sure.
Well, the thing about wearing short shorts is you have to shave your legs higher. So that's why I don't do it.
Well, the bigger thing, too, is your tan
Yes.
Your tan doesn't go past where normally your shorts would. Or for
so
those,
you have to wear the short shorts all the time, or else you're going to have some embarrassing lines.
what do they call it? The farmer's tan?
Yep.
You would have to tan that part of your leg that hasn't seen sun in a while.
Yeah.
And you'd have to do that.
For me, it's most of my leg. But my legs also, for me, I know you all need to hear this. They actually are so hairy, they don't get tanned anyways.
Really?
They're tan enough.
That is fine.
And I wear jeans more often than shorts.
Sure.
So my legs, but they're not pale. So I guess that should paint a nice picture for everyone.
Just everybody.
I've got it's a nice hue. And
hairy legs.
Yeah.
To go with his long hair on his head.
And in case you're wondering, the hair doesn't stop at my legs. It also goes down to my feet.
Oh, it does all the way.
Yep.
So
the whole package.
The bigger problem they said is, a lot of people got really comfortable with activewear.
Yeah.
And like loungewear. Loungewear is the better word to use.
Yeah.
Comfortable clothes.
Because that's more accurate, more truthful.
More truthful. And so they were just saying for even a lot of guys and women that we wore just a lot of pants. And so to go from pants to now, they expect you to go into work and you're supposed to be wearing short shorts.
Yep.
It's just a lot for people to handle.
I don't know if this is not a fashion trend we're going to keep up with, but I don't know. It's all in the eyes of the beholder. Do you think if the ladies are posting on TikTok that they're not into this, then that might have to be a game changer for the guys where it
might not last long.
You might feel comfortable. But is that really you're reducing your appeal is what we would say.
Well, it depends on you. So everybody let us know what is the appropriate length you feel like for your shorts this summer.
You have to find a happy medium between short shorts, which you may be comfortable in, and
pants. Absolutely pants.
Right.
Riot Podcast, RadioU.
It's time to start donating blood. The Red Cross says they're going through a severe national shortage, and so they're trying to get you out and about into one of their donation centers.
Oh, to help?
More so than normal. You know the old drill with the Red Cross is you donate blood once, and then they will never stop contacting you for the rest of your life, no matter how long it's been.
They have you on the list.
And that was before there was a shortage.
They say that because of COVID and the decline in the ability of them being able to get donated blood, that now that has changed to now they are able to start, the restrictions on giving blood have been lessened. So you are allowed to go back to doing that. And they say that a recent surge in trauma cases, ER visits, patients with the coronavirus pandemic, there's just a bigger need. And there usually is in the summer because I don't know if people tend to give blood less then.
Yeah.
But it's still a need. So the need is the entire year.
Yeah.
So they're really asking to help if people do donate blood to go back out and do it again.
Yeah. I wonder if because to me, I used to do plasma donations.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that would factor into the blood, if the Red Cross is maybe experiencing more blood issues, not just because of the pandemic, which is obviously the main cause, but the plasma stuff seems to have picked up. Mm-hmm. And if you donate plasma, or I guess vice versa, if you donate blood once, you can't donate plasma for 8 weeks. And they pay you to get plasma.
Yeah.
And with blood drives, if you're lucky, you'll get tickets to a football game or something.
Yeah, you're not.
But
they
don't
can't
have
pay
the
for
incentives there. And you get a cookie. But
that's because they don't want you to pass out.
That's right. They're not even being nice.
There's a thing behind that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I always thought. I did always wonder, yes, giving blood is the nice thing to do and whatever. And I've done it a few times, but not since I found out about plasma. Now I'm just too busy to do any of it.
Now you just do that.
But I guess I'm just too selfish. I just like getting paid to give up my body fluids.
They're saying that for the Red Cross, there's a demand for platelets. Those quickly expire.
Yeah. Oh, and those are the ones that take a long time to donate.
Yes, they really need it. Type O blood, since that can be used in transfusions for almost any other blood type. Mm-hmm. And then Red Cross donors will receive a $5 Amazon gift card if you donate by the 30th.
Yeah, so maybe get out there, do something nice for your summer. See if there's a blood drive going on. That's the other thing I wonder is...
Now they can just have blood drives again.
Over the past year,
they haven't been able to.
They would have probably their centers open, but you did have to wear a mask and everything, not exactly comfortable. But there would always be blood drives. Radio stations would put them on, and football team, there'd always be something every weekend where you could go and get a fun prize.
But that just went away kind of in the background. Yep. So now they're saying that you don't have to wear a mask anymore or socially distance if you are fully vaccinated at a blood donor center or a blood drive.
Where do you go when you need someone to listen to your problems and give you a big hug? Not here. Obviously, this is The Riot on RadioU.
Sometimes you have to go through some drastic measures if you really want to make a relationship work. And that's what this couple did in the Ukraine. The man's name, Alexander Kudle. The woman is Victoria Pustavovita. That's definitely not
good.
Yeah.
It sounded actually pretty good.
But it was very Italian. Pustavovita, but she's not Italian. She's Ukrainian.
Well,
I'm not saying her name correctly. But they live in the Ukraine, and 123 days ago, give or take, they decided to handcuff themselves together.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to really work on their relationship. I guess they thought things weren't going so well, but they didn't want to give up.
It said they had an on-off relationship a lot of times, and they wanted to just kind of decide. So they handcuffed themselves together for 3 months to see if it was meant to be.
And it wasn't.
It wasn't? They said they got their handcuffs cut off, and then that was it. They just broke up.
They could not wait to separate, is what they said.
I think that's too hard. Like, that's too... of course you're going to hate each other if you're handcuffed like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to work on your relationship, I feel that there's other ways. But one of the worst things you could probably do is... I know maybe in some old sitcoms or something,
it
might work. But one, they probably don't do that for 123 days. It's like 3. And you're going to try to spend every single moment with somebody.
You're going to not like them.
Going to help your relationship. You need your alone time to process things.
Yeah, even in a relationship. She said, I'm finally free. When that was done, they came up with the idea after they wanted to break up, but it looks like this was really a social media thing on their Instagram. They said, for their supporters who are following along with it, that they were glad to have the experience, but after doing everything together for 3 months, they cannot stand each other, it seems like, so they're breaking up.
The woman, Victoria, she said, I want to live my own independent life and grow as an independent person. I think after 123 days attached to somebody, that is very appropriate.
Now, Carl texted, said, what in the world if one of them had to go to the bathroom? And they did. They did everything together.
You have to learn. You have to learn to live with somebody else, and you learn how horrible it is.
They said that they just don't want to get back together, and they documented on Instagram the issues that they had, the difficulties, and it just kept getting worse as the time went on.
Can I say one of the first questions I have is, how are they able to put on and take off shirts?
Oh, because
your hand is. How would you get your hand in the one sleeve?
That's a good question. Are these?
I see them wearing shirts and the man not wearing a shirt. So he took his shirt off at some point.
I know.
And then what? Did he never be able to get it back on again?
Where's this guy's pants at? Put your pants on.
He is embracing the short summer, it looks like.
That's not shorts. That's not it. That's a good question. Sometimes you notice the holes in the story.
Right. So were they really, or was this all for Instagram and they weren't cut? It is funny to me. It shows how just patently obvious it is that it was for Instagram, that they got the handcuffs taken off at the Unity Monument, which is where they apparently also got them put on.
Yeah.
So, if you just want to, if this was really to save your relationship, you could have just unceremoniously taken them off wherever and not made it a big to-do. So it was all for Instagram, and we're falling for it.
So 3 months later, if you and your special someone, if you don't think they're special anymore, it might be better to decide that before you go handcuffing, because no one will like the other person any better.
It's not going to make it better.
After spending 3 months with them?
No.
People who are the best get awards. People who are the worst get their own podcast. The Worst of the Riot.
I want to let you know about the opportunity of a lifetime. It's coming your way, and all you need is some money. You could name one of three beluga whales coming to the Mystic Aquarium in Connecticut.
Oh, you can name them?
Yeah, they're auctioning off the opportunity to name the beluga whales. And I really want to know what is on the list of names you're not allowed to give them?
Well, what's the
or
one?
Or is that on a case-by-case basis?
What's the one from all the other things?
Is it Bodie McBoatface?
Yeah,
That's
like
where everybody goes first.
Beluga
McBeluga face.
That could be good.
Yeah.
They're saying that they're raising money for the beluga whales to help with their care, and then also just to take care of some of the costs. They transported them from Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Did they want to go?
Is it Canada's fault? Canada couldn't take care of them or something? Or
I don't know. I don't know the details on that, but they do need to raise the money for that.
So what should... I struggle to think of what a good name for a beluga whale would be.
Well,
like I want to come up with something really good, and I don't have it.
Well, does anybody else have anything? I mean, guys, we need to work
text
together
in your
on
ideas
this.
here, and we'll start getting a GoFundMe together so that we can purchase the naming rights of one of these beluga whales.
So do you just offer money and then they'll pick a name at the end, or how do you do it?
I think it's actually like an auction. So you're going to have to put in your bid, and if you're one of the highest bidders, you get to just go for it.
I don't do auctions a lot.
It's from
Hudson.
it's the auction house Guernsey's is going to be running it.
Well, I like
so
Jared.
You have to take it up with them.
Jared said, I feel like Waffles, the beluga whale, makes sense to me. Waffles is a really cute name.
That is a good name.
That's an awesome name.
You should
for
save
it.
that for if you get a new cat or dog.
Oh, yeah, that'd be
that
good.
That would fit in with your themes.
Stacy said Beluga Lou. Yes.
Beluga Lou.
Like Electric Boogaloo.
Oh.
Yeah, like that sort of thing. That's a great one,
yeah,
Stacey.
one could be Electric Boogaloo Part 2. Yeah.
That's the second whale.
Right.
And then the other one's Beluga Boatface.
Right, yeah.
There, we named all three.
There we go. We've got it down. I think it'd be fun to have a beluga named after you. No, actually, I don't. Because that's like, look at that big...
The big whale. It's a weight thing.
It's Hudson. Yeah, right. It wouldn't make you feel good about yourself. It's big and it's pale. And you're just like... Oh.
Well, it is Canadian.
So you could name the beluga whale after something you hate, someone you do not
Something you don't like. They say they named other animals in the past at this Connecticut aquarium, and they're very excited for the opportunity. It really no, it doesn't. It really makes the animals part of the community.
Oh, it would, yes.
And the community feels like they're part of the experience of welcoming the
really
new animals.
Yep.
They hope to raise $4 million at the auction, which includes donated art, perhaps a boat or a vintage car, some things that they're going to be auctioning off, and then the chance to name the 3 beluga whales.
I wonder, we've been thinking about this all wrong. We're thinking, what is the name for the belugas that would entertain us? Mm-hmm. But we should think about a name for the belugas that would make them feel the best about themselves.
Yeah, you want to make sure it's nice enough.
Yeah, so what would a beluga like? It'd probably be like to be named Tiny no, that's maybe a little too
slim,
diminutive. It'd be like I don't know.
You need to think about it.
Average size, yeah.
They said they spent millions of dollars last month transporting the whales from their home at Marine Land in Niagara Falls, Ontario. And they had to use a cargo plane, custom-made stretchers. Now they're at the Mystic Aquarium in Connecticut.
So what, you fly a beluga?
Yeah, I mean, what are they supposed to do? Just hope.
I thought drive it on the highway, get like one of those oversized load.
No, I don't think so.
Poor beluga. We are not helping them feel good about themselves.
I think time is crucial. So maybe you never seen like FedEx or UPS will like donate a plane ride or something.
Yeah, I don't know. In your mind, even though a bunch of people on a regular airplane would add up to, I'm sure, a beluga's weight, if you think a beluga would be too heavy to fly.
It's not.
Hudson, Nikki, the Riot, RadioU.
We've got this story here out of Wales in the UK where Carol Howarth, she was driving around in her Mitsubishi Outlander and suddenly she started to notice that she was carrying around a lot of extra passengers on the back of her vehicle. Yep.
Wales is where our Paradise Now band is from.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They're from Wales.
They're Welsh.
I called them Wales instead of Welsh. I was like, that's not how we say that. You're just from Wales, but you're not. It's Welsh.
Yeah. And I always thought when I think of them, I think of Tom Jones because he's from Wales also.
Is that it?
Yeah. What's New Pussycat guy? Yep. And so just behind him, they're probably like the next best-selling Welsh artist. And the other thing is in Futurama, in one of the Star Trek episodes, there's a character named Welshie, and he gets vaporized. Welshie.
And anyways, that's all we think about.
It's really has nothing to do with anything in the story. The story is about Carol Howarth, who is in Wales. She had picked up a bunch of bees following her car around for 2 whole days. It was a swarm of 20,000 bees
attached to her car,
were following her car around. Turns out the queen bee somehow had gotten in her car, which I didn't really realize. That I thought queen bees were like didn't really move because they are pregnant or whatever. You know, like
I don't actually. I just thought they were just the queen.
Yeah, but and then they have all the babies, right? Don't they? Or no? Beekeepers, correct us.
Oh, I don't know. I just thought it was like, hey, you were nominated. And then when you're done.
All the bees think you do a really good job of like organizing the honey.
Because you can introduce a new queen bee. Like if a hive loses it, then you can introduce a new one. And what did that TikTok tell me? What
do you watch that
bee talk?
That beekeeper lady that like talks like this, and I just scooped up the bees.
There's a lot of drama with that.
Yeah,
and they said that
it's hard to watch.
They either accept her or they kill her. It's one or the other.
The sword of Damocles is hanging over you whenever you're the queen bee.
Exactly. So they're just saying though that if the queen bee gets lost somewhere, these bees will follow.
Yeah, and that is exactly what happened to this woman in Wales. So I just thought, wouldn't it be nice to have that kind of attention? Maybe not for 2 days, but like just to have a bunch of fans following you around.
If you look below in the article, they cover a lot more. This is something that happens somewhat more frequently than we think it does.
Well, if you follow TikTok, you know that the bees are a problem.
So they're just showing people's cars with just swarms of bees like stuck to the back of them. And it could be the queen bee's inside. She's stuck. They say that maybe the queen bee gets on like your windshield wiper or somewhere in the back of the vehicle. So it's not like inside your car, but it's just stuck somewhere in the outside. And they'll follow. You just need to find where it's at.
I just didn't know. Again, I just am tripped up by how did the queen bee get moving around? Because I always picture the queen bee being the slow, sluggish, because it's got like a big behind full of eggs or something like that.
I think we need to look up on that.
Yeah, we're going to have to do some research.
The equivalent of someone's lint collection. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
I thought, like, we can never stop reading the news, Nikki and I, because we need to come up with stuff to talk about on the show. And our lives aren't that interesting on their own.
Basically, we have to have that for you guys. Because, you're right. We can't. We can't come up with
We can't just do several hours on our dogs every day. I'm sure some people would appreciate that, maybe, but...
maybe one special show, but we couldn't have that be our entire show's thing.
Yeah, so if I wasn't doing radio as much, maybe I would be able to completely unplug from the COVID-19 stuff a while ago, where you just feel like you've hit the finish line with it. And I feel like a lot of us hit that point. But now, because we have to keep reading the news, I'm starting to feel like I need to be concerned again, or at least I'm asking the question, should I be concerned about this Delta variant? Because in the news, you just keep seeing the Delta variant is worse. The Delta variant is worse. And I don't know. Should I be concerned?
They say that the Delta variant is something that is impacting around the world because they're not sure of its origin, how it's transmission like between everybody.
Yeah.
They say that there's hotspots for it, and it potentially could be more vaccine resistant.
Yes.
So you have a lot of areas now where everybody's like, wee.
Yep. Everybody's out and about and doing things the way they would before.
Exactly. And they're just worried. It's still just something out there because it's a variant of what we've been traditionally experiencing.
Yeah, part of the problem, they say, is, well, of course, the original... Okay, first of all, I'm reading all this, much like a lot of the COVID stuff, is going over my head. I only know so much. I can only understand so much as we've all become health experts the last 15 months.
And I feel like those that write articles know that. So I don't think
they're trying to dumb it down.
Yeah, or not necessarily dumb it down, but they just know like, hey, I don't have to work really hard at the middle part.
Oh yeah.
And we can just give a
good headline. Yep. Give a good headline. The Delta variant, why you should be concerned, and then it gives you a bunch of gobbledygook that you don't understand, and it's like, oh yes, this is concerning.
But you should be going down and reading everything.
The bottom line seems to be the original COVID-19 that we started dealing with. Part of the huge issue with that is it was so transmissible to where if you are near somebody, of course, we all have the anecdotes about like, I was with somebody that had the virus for a week and neither of us knew and I never caught it or something like that. But it's so transmissible to where you're likely to get it if you're around somebody who also had it for a while. But this is even more transmissible than the virus that we're already dealing with. And even as I'm saying that, it starts to feel like when they turn it becomes a super laser hurricane in the winter time, a super laser hurricane winter storm.
It becomes worse.
And the moon becomes a super blood red, rare, shiny moon. Like they just always have to keep upping the ante on it.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem. Is it true? Is it really more transmissible and more dangerous? Or are they just trying to string us along with more COVID-19 news?
I feel like a lot of people, I'm just always in between. Like I like to know the news, but then you don't only eat the news. Like you have to have something else to go with it. Otherwise, you'll get absorbed by all of it. They say that, like in Canada, it was first detected early April in British Columbia. It's the most dominant variant that's detected in Canada. And then they were talking about earlier with its distribution across the UK. So it's there.
And this was the one that they feel was also causing a lot of the issues because they think it originated in India in December, and India's had a real hard time with the virus for a lot of reasons, but this might be one of them. So I don't know. And the other thing is, I hear about the different variants. The Delta one is what they're talking about now. I don't know if the Delta one is the one that causes vomiting and stuff like that. So I don't want to get that one. And I know I've been vaccinated. I know I've been vaccinated, but I'm still not 100% confident because it's not 100% effective. It's like 95.
I know.
So what if I'm in the 5% and all of a sudden I'm vomiting and can't breathe? And that's not what I want.
No one wants any
Nobody
of that.
wants that.
No one wants any of that, but thanks for adding the worry to that
Can I get another vaccine to cover the last 5% maybe?
You're supposed to get a booster, I think.
Yeah,
like a
but
booster
not yet.
every time.
Not yet, but maybe I'll just sneak back in. I'll sneak back in.
You're also not supposed to do that. You're like, oh, do you remember? Oh, no, I've never been here before.
It's just like with the virus last year where it's just like, man, I know I'm going to get it. I know somehow I'm going to get it even though I'm vaccinated. I'll never feel confident that I'm not going to get it.
You're fine. You're going to be fine.
I'm okay.
Okay?
I don't need to wear a mask all the time.
Don't worry.
I'm not doing that.
But be smart about it.
Yeah.
That's when you're like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be smart about it.
Maybe the mask is the last 5%.
I don't know.
Something to listen to when you meant to work out but tripped into a box of donuts. This is RadioU's Worst of the Riot.
The pandemic took its toll on a lot of people, and one of the group's hardest hit
I don't know if that's
was
right, but
the
that's
merfolk.
Okay. The merfolk.
The merfolk struggled through the pandemic.
I did not know that it had a term, even though I've seen, like the mermaid tails.
Yeah.
Not like tails like story, but like mermaid. That thing.
Yeah, right.
The tails where you put on their legs. So like people will use them to swim in pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that it's a thing.
It's not just a thing. It's a whole community of merfolk. And that's what I kind of thought, too, because you'd see the stories in the kind of sources we follow in the tabloid type thing where it's like, look at this person. They like to wear a tail. Ha ha. Crazy.
It's like at home in their own pool.
Right. But it turns out there's a growing community of merfolk that was displaced from their pools and conventions over the past year or so because of the pandemic. And now, finally, they're able to get out, be free, and swim together once again.
They said that basically public swimming pools, because they had been closed for so long, that now going into this summer, they're back and open. So they're allowed to think of it. This is the perfect way to explain it. They think of it as cosplay, but underwater.
Okay.
So the mermaid look is a cosplay sort of thing that they decide to go with. And they say that
it would be difficult to cosplay a mermaid on land.
I know.
You'd probably fall over a lot, or you'd have to crawl around. So
you're right, and
makes sense.
Something they couldn't do. So public pools. Are you allowed to have a mermaid tail in a public pool here?
This woman seems to be. Her name is Jessica. She's from East London. She's 30 years old, and she seems to be one of the foremost merfolk. And so what she says is, it's hard for her to find public pools where she can just go by herself with her tail, even if she tries to get her own lane in the pool.
Yeah.
So what she has to do is hire out the whole public pool, or, a whole pool space.
During the whole time?
Yeah, so she will get for a whole weekend or whatever it may be for her and her other merfolk friends, her mer friends,
that might
as
be
they might say.
That must be expensive, but if she's sharing the cost with friends.
Yeah, I wonder if when you're a merfolk, if it's part of it is just swimming around with the tail and the other part is just putting mer in front of everything. This is my mer friend. Hey, Mer Jerry, this is Mer Jessica.
They say...
I'd like to introduce you.
They always love swimming, and they love being underwater. They just say that this is a fun extension of that, so they can have more power with it.
More power to them.
More power, but it is something. So if you go to the pool and you didn't check ahead of time, and it's booked for the week or for the day, and you're like, hey, what's going on in there? And you see a lot of the mermaid tails, then it might be the mer people that have hired out the pool for the day.
Mer people is, that's considered diminutive.
They say that?
No.
I was like, wait a minute.
But I could say that and you wouldn't know, could you? You would feel real bad.
Like, wait, I don't want to be mean.
No, you don't want to offend the mer people, the mer folk, I should say.
Well, Nicole texted in, said there's a few people at her pool that wear mermaid tails, but they're kids. So they're not the grown-up ones.
Yeah. Well, the woman, Jessica, she said, ever since I was a kid, I've loved swimming in the Little Mermaid in the ocean. So she goes, it was no surprise to my family and friends when I started wearing a tail. And I feel like it should maybe surprise your family and friends a little bit.
But if it's only when you're at the pool, if that became more of a you are wearing
your whole
it,
lifestyle,
carry me around, that sort of thing. Then
you have to live in a
near a pool, near a body of water.
You know the other thing, and I don't want to make anybody feel bad, but the line between mermaid. A person being a mermaid and a person being a walrus isn't that big, Like there's a thin, fine walrus. All you need is a mustache.
Well, what if there's the tusks?
Yeah, I guess the tusks too.
What if there's a cosplay of that? Like, what if there's a whole group of people for that? Oh, that's a well we can fall right on into.
If there isn't, there's going to be.
You almost missed hearing this one. We just couldn't let that happen. The worst of the riot. Radio U.
Oh, no, Hudson.
My name is Hudson.
No. It's Monday. Like, we have a really long week, and I don't know if we want to start with
Just trying to get the energy up here.
The flow, I guess.
I got to work on that, though. I had, I feel that if you do want to be a freestyle rapper, you really got to work on your uhs, because that's how you buy time,
Yeah, that's the, like the fill-in word.
Yep, so I've got that down. I just need all of the rest of the rapping.
Do you have it down? Do you?
It sounded good there, didn't it?
I don't know. Maybe my headphones weren't working the same.
It was right in time and everything. Mm-hmm. I just didn't have anything to come after it.
Woo!
Just didn't have any rhymes.
It's nice when you learn about someone's talent that you did not know was there.
Yep.
And I hope we can grow and hear more of your talent.
My freestyle skills. Your freestyle. Well, I'm going to have to keep working on them.
We need to pull that bed too. If that's what's causing you to be like, I can totally do this.
Yep, it's inspiring me.
Is it?
Hey, when creativity hits you, you have to just let it out. You just have to let your inner your juices and your mind flow out into the world, because that's where beauty comes from.
I should be careful, that way you're not going to our boss being like, she won't let me. She won't let me freestyle.
Nikki is stifling me. I need creative control of this show.
I don't want you to ever feel that way. But unless maybe I'm reading the room wrong, which would be all the listeners.
Yeah.
I don't know if that freestyle is what we should be putting all of our energy towards.
They don't. That's not what they come here for, is it?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Did you know, a hard left turn, did you know we celebrated something very special, a big occasion over the weekend?
What was it?
It was not Father's Day. It was the 15-year anniversary of when the TSA started banning liquid carry-on items from
when you
planes.
Travel?
Yeah.
15 years?
It's been 15 years, and what people were pointing out over the weekend is they said at the time it was going to be temporary.
Dude, if someone makes a point to say something's temporary, It's not.
There's
it will
no
be
way.
Forever and ever and ever.
But they can just keep saying, don't worry, it's temporary. And that's their way of just kicking it down the road.
I guess because
forever.
It would have been younger when we were allowed to bring liquids on.
Yeah, I don't really even remember bringing them on.
I don't remember it as much. I always remember them being mad at you because you forgot something that had too much liquid in it.
Yeah, of course. You thought you could have your water bottle, and foolish you can buy one once you get through the terminal for $8.
But not through security.
Yeah.
And it was more because Eric always carries like knives with him, like pocket knives.
Yeah.
We would never have too much liquid. He would always just have a pocket knife on him somewhere and not remember.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, oh, we have to leave this here, don't we?
You can't do that, can you? But, I mean, you can say what you want, but it's been 15 years, and how many shampoo bottle bombs have gone off on planes?
None?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think so. Somebody's going to point out, what about the shampoo bottle bomb incident of 1990? Well, I guess that would be more than 15 years ago. So
They say that everybody's just having a really good time pointing out, yes, the fact that this was supposed to be a temporary ban on liquid over a certain amount.
Yep.
And I feel like still when I fly, it's been a while, but every time I would fly, everything was different every time you would go.
There was always something.
There was always something. You're like, well, I have the one pass to where you shouldn't have to like take your shoes off or your laptop, like the TSA pre-approved. And then you'd get to the airport and they're like, well, we need you to go through here. Just kidding. Or sometimes you go through here and they wouldn't ask for anything.
Yeah.
It was just always different every time. And if they caught you with too much liquid.
Yeah. Sometimes it really depends on the agents you get. And I find that there's a very wide gap. So everybody wants to make fun of the TSA agents and say that, they're really all surly and hate their jobs. There's some of them, because before the pandemic, flew a decent amount. And they're not so bad. Not all of them, but...
well, they're just enforcing the rules.
Right, but some of them are a lot more, not even lax, just a lot more cool about it. To
But
where
they won't let you put it on.
Right, to where, they're just not giving you such a hard time over, sorry that I had a bottle of Coke.
Shampoo.
Yeah.
I think, though, if you look at the TSA next time you go through, which I know there's a TSA shortage this summer. They say they need more. But if you look and they all have like shiny hair and they're like very well hydrated, they're just drinking and using our stuff.
Yep. Using your nail clippers that you weren't allowed to bring on in your carry-on.
And they got like pocket knives and lighters.
This was the worst of the riot, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The riot exists because RadioU exists, and RadioU only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at RadioU.com/donate.